to my channel. Now, one of the ways in which you learn at Cambridge is through the supervisions. What are supervisions? Supervisions are normally, on average, hour-long sessions in which a small group of yous will be with a supervisor. The supervisor could be one of the lecturers that you've got. It could be just one of the members of the colleges. Could be like someone who's graduated from university. It could even be a practitioner who's conducting it, and it's a good opportunity each time you have the supervision to go through a particular topic and to ask questions, to get things clarified. It's a good opportunity to discuss things as well. So it's a good opportunity in which you can take a particular topic or an aspect of that topic and expand upon it and discuss it, look at different viewpoints, look at different arguments, hear what the supervisor believes about that particular topic or aspect of the topic. So it's a really good chance to learn. Now, the first time you'll have it, I was just the same. You'll be nervous, but then you'll get used to it over time. But supervisions are very important. So what I thought in this video, something different this week, would be just to explain how I go about preparing for supervisions. So I just thought I'd just talk about the different steps that I take. Now, of course, supervisions are quite exclusive to Cambridge, but there might be something similar or along similar lines at other universities. But it's just a good thing to think about in terms of like preparing for just general assignments, or if you are going to Cambridge or thinking of Cambridge, when you're preparing for supervision. So I hope you enjoy this video and I hope it's helpful. So this is a typical supervision sheet for law. This is for international law, looking at statehood and personality recognition. Now this can vary depending on the subject you do, but also the supervisor. So in this case, the supervisor decided to put together her own supervision sheet for this topic. It starts off listing some general readings, so some of the key textbooks we can refer to, as well as primary materials, so cases that we need to have a look at. It could be academic articles, reports by the Law Commission, for example. So it's listing them here for us to have a look at. Some of them are in one of the key textbooks, so we can have a look at it in there. It's just basically the key materials that will be useful to, for example, discuss in the supervision itself. And then just coming down, we've got further reading. For further reading, you don't necessarily have to do that for the supervision. That can, for example, be done during the holidays. It's just more resources, more materials that can be used, will be helpful for the exams. And then we've got some questions. Quite often in supervisions, you'll get questions set. This could just be things for you to note and to make some notes on, or it could just be actual questions, whether questions that they've created, or even past exam questions. And then just finally to note that sometimes you might get an essay question set. So this is just an essay question that we have been set due in for the 13th of December. So step one for me is to gather my materials, and this is important because when primary materials are being set for the supervision, whether that be cases or articles by academics, what I like to do is to have them all downloaded and then stored on my laptop, which will be useful not only for the supervision, but also useful because then I can refer to them at a later date. And so starting off with the cases, as you can see, I've got some cases that I need to have a look at. And what I do is I take the citation of the case and I copy that into a site known as Westlaw, which is one of the main sites from which you can gain access to cases and journals. So I enter it in there, search for it, and this is the case here. I can then click on the report that I can gain access to, and then what I would do is download that case and have it stored onto my laptop. It would be stored into the relevant file depending on what the topic is. And then what I would do is I would also look for cases from the International Court of Justice. Now I can't really get these from Westlaw as such. What I do instead is I just put them into the search engine and then just gain access to cases of the International Court of Justice on the main website. So as you can see, I just click on advisory opinion, and then I would download the relevant case and any judgments that I need to gain access to as well. Step 2 involves highlighting through the key bits of information in the textbook. So what I like to do first of all is to buy my own textbooks, because that allows me to highlight through the textbook to make annotations where appropriate, which will be useful both for the supervision and for a later date. And I also like to use different highlighters to colour coordinate. So I know what is a case, what's an article, what's just some general description of the law, and that's just useful to organise things, so to speak. And so what I do is I'll read through the relevant chapter, the relevant pages that have been set, and then highlight through the key bits of information. So going through and thinking what is relevant, what's important, what are the key bits of information that I will need, what are the key articles. But also it's quite useful to highlight the footnotes as well. So it's quite often textbooks will have little bits of information at the bottom of the page in the footnotes. That could just be extra cases, or they could give a quote and then there'll be the name of the article at the bottom or whoever wrote it at the bottom, and that can be useful in terms of gathering more materials. So I like to do that. Can often be a lot to highlight for law, and it might be the same for other subjects. The key is just to do it in sizable chunks over the time period that you've got before the supervision. Step 3 for me is to take what I've highlighted and to jot that down. And the way I like to do that is I like to type up my notes. For me, that's just what I've been used to for a while, but you might prefer to write your notes down. That's perfectly fine as well. There's different ways of note taking. For me, I like to just take the keywords information that I've highlighted and just to bullet point it, because then it's easier for me to go through and then to organise it when it comes to making my revision tools that I like to use in preparation for mock and actual exams. So what I'll do is I'll go through what I've highlighted and jot down the key bits of information. If there's anything I've highlighted that I'm actually thinking maybe this is not as relevant, I might put that to one side. And again, that might take time. Like with highlighting, do it in sizable chunks and do it over that period of time, and just being organised, that's quite important. The next step involves looking at cases and articles. So as you can see here with this case from a previous supervision, is I like to separate the cases out into a summary of the facts, a summary of the key rulings of the court, and then the actual judgment of the court. And in terms of looking at the judgment, it's important to read through it and to know what you're looking for. So think about the topic that it is, and in particular what aspect of the topic that you are looking for, because that will determine, because quite often judgments will involve more than one issue. And also important in terms of judgments is to just go through and take out the key aspects from the judgment. What is relevant, what is important, and so that's what I like to do. And the same thing for the articles is I like to bullet point the key bits from the articles, again looking at what I need and looking at what is relevant and what might be useful to use, for example, in essay questions. Step 5, and answering the supervision questions. So like I mentioned at the beginning, quite often for supervision you'll be set questions to have a look at beforehand. And sometimes this might just be, we're going to discuss this, this and this in the supervision. So it's good to have some notes down so you've got your ideas already onto paper or on your laptop ready to discuss in the supervision. But in this case for international law, I've got some questions set. So what I would do is I would be going through those questions, thinking about them carefully and just making some notes based on all of the notes I've been taken, whether that be from textbooks or from articles or from cases, and just putting some key bullet points down. Not like writing full passages or anything like that, but putting down some key points. And as you can see, the questions can vary. So some of them might be like just description questions or like an essay question. And sometimes the case might be they might actually give you a question that's been in the exam. But again, just making those key notes and put some ideas down ready to discuss in the supervision. And then after all of that, the final step for me would be to go through my notes and check through it, make sure I've got everything, make sure I've answered all the questions, make sure I've covered all of the primary materials that I need to cover, so I've got notes on that. And then if I need to print it out, for example, for international law, then I would print it out ready for the supervision. That'll depend on the supervisor. Some supervisors will prefer you to print it out, some supervisors won't mind if you use your laptop, but that would depend on the supervisor that you've got. And those are the steps in which I prepare for my supervisions. I hope this has been helpful, just giving you an idea, not just about what supervisions are, but how you can prepare for it, or even how you can make notes, for example. So, hopefully it's been beneficial for you. If you've enjoyed it, don't forget to do the usual things like liking the video, follow me on Facebook and Instagram. You can share the video, you can subscribe to my channel by clicking the bottom right hand corner, but then hit the notification bell to keep up to date with any new videos and vlogs as they come out. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next video or vlog.